31 cars to life as we get set for live Grand National Racing from Bristol. ESPN, celebrating its 10th season as the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Tonight, live from Bristol International Raceway in Bristol, Tennessee, the J. Johnson 200 Busch Grand National Race. A beautiful evening in northeastern Tennessee, and there are thousands of people here ready to watch 200 laps of exciting competition. The starting lineup. On the pole for the third time here at Bristol, Morgan Shepherd in car number 90. Tommy Ellis is outside row number 1 in car 99. The second row, car 28, Davey Allison and Harry Gant in number 7. In row number 3, it is Jimmy Spencer and Jimmy Hensley, cars 87 and 70. Row number 4, L.D. Ottinger in car number 2 and Mark Martin in number 1. The fifth row, Dale Earnhardt in car number 3 and Rob Moroso in number 25. The sixth row, Dale Jarrett in car number 32 and Kenny Wallace in car number 36. As we look at the rest of the starting lineup, Ned Jarrett, this usually is one of the best Grand National races we see all year.
Usually it is, Bob. There's normally a lot of passing, plenty of competition, and certainly some fast speeds here on this high-banked half-a-mile track. But there could be a problem tonight. There's new pavement on the racetrack. It looks like it's going to be a one-groove racetrack.
We'll talk more about that in just a moment. Here are the point standings as we go into this race. The driver who has started more Busch Grand National races than any other, Tommy Houston, is on top of the standings. He's never won the championship, though. Last year's champion, Tommy Ellis, is second in points, followed by Rob Moroso. Jack Ingram is fourth, and Kenny Wallace is fifth in Grand National points as we go into this event. With more on this track situation, here is Jack Arute on pit road.
Well, Bob, as Ned Jarrett said, this is a one-groove racetrack tonight. But the problem, see this chunk of asphalt? It came up from the groove. The track is chunking very badly, down especially in turns 1 and 2. It's wreaking havoc with the handling of the cars, and especially on the tires. And for more on how it's affecting the tires, let's check in with my colleague, Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Jack, those chunks that are coming up are actually small, razor-sharp pebbles. And what are those little razor pebbles doing? Well, let's take a look at the tire. It's causing transverse cuts in the tires. Now, these little cuts are very difficult to see with the camera. It came off of the Dale Jarrett car. Many drivers and crews are concerned about these tires being sliced open tonight. And if that's the case, it could be very serious here in Bristol, Tennessee. In fact, Dale Jarrett's sponsor behind me, Crunch, could be an omen. It could be crunch time at Bristol. Bob?
All right, and we have an in-car camera for tonight's action. A.G. Dillard car driven by Rick Mast will carry it for us. And Benny, what do you think?
Well, I think we're going to see some action from inside Rick Mast's car. He runs very well in this circuit, and he's right in the middle of the pack, so we ought to see some exciting shots from inside that car.
The field is forming in turns number 3 and 4. The pace car has pulled into the pits, and we're set to go for 200 laps in the J. Johnson 200. The green flag waves, and here we go.
Everybody will try to get down on the inside as you go into that turn, because the low side of the racetrack is where the groove is.
And Tommy Ellis, who started outside of the front row, has to back off because he is not in the inside. He drops back to fourth as Shepherd will lead. Everybody through the first lap without a problem. Morgan Shepherd is your leader. Davey Allison is running in second position, followed by Harry Gant, and Dale Earnhardt in the black number 3 car is moving up from the starting position that he had.
One car, the driver that had a good qualifying position, Jimmy Hensley, car number 70, has got caught on the outside. He started in 6th position, but he's now back to about 10th.
And a battle for 4th position involves Tommy Ellis in the black and red car number 99 and Jimmy Spencer in car number 87.
Tommy Ellis is off the pace, Bob Jenkins. His car not up to speed, and it looks like he may have a flat tire, some kind of problem on Ellis's car.
Well, he did drop back when they dropped the green flag as he was caught outside, but it appears as if the car may not be running the way he wants it to. We go up front and watch the first three who have broken away from the rest of the pack, and the number 9 car of Steve Grissom is sparking.
And that's something you'll see here at Bristol. We didn't expect to see it as much tonight, but when he goes in, the car bottoms out, and that's the exhaust pipe that's dragging as he goes into the turn. But the high banks here, 35 degrees banking, there's a lot of down pressure on the car.
He had to take a provisional to start in tonight's race. There are the top three. It's Morgan Shepherd leading, Davey Allison running in second position, and Harry Gant is in third as they come down to complete lap number 6. 200 laps. Jay Johnson 200. Who's Jay Johnson? Well, he's a local car dealer here in the Bristol, Tennessee area. And now Davey Allison looked to the inside of Morgan Shepherd there at the end of the backstretch, but decided to not make a move as now Allison begins to separate himself from third place Harry Gant. These three cars have broken away from the rest of the pack. Jimmy Spencer back in fourth position, and Tommy Ellis holding on to fifth as L.G. Ottinger runs in sixth, followed by Dale Earnhardt, then Mark Martin, Rob Moroso, and Jimmy Hinsley. So settle back and relax and get ready for an exciting evening of auto racing here on ESPN as we bring you some Busch Grand National racing from Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee. Our Speed World coverage of the Jay Johnson 200 is being brought to you this evening by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. By Dodge, cars and trucks on the street or off the road, it's the new spirit of Dodge. By Busch Beer, the beer with a taste as smooth as its name. And by the Die Hard battery, now with more power when you need it most. 11 laps have been completed here at Bristol International Raceway, and Morgan Shepherd leads this 200-lap event. Stay with us. And is third in car number 7. Morgan Shepherd with 15 career Busch Grand National wins, but this is only his third Grand National start of 1989.
It looks like that Davey Allison's Howland Star car is a little bit faster than Morgan's, but he just can't get by. He looks on the inside, doesn't have enough to get by down the straightaway, and let me tell you, there's no one going to venture on the outside at this point.
And we have some positions being changed. That Jimmy Spencer leading 4 cars down the main straightaway. Tommy Ellis is right there behind him. Then L.D. Ottinger and Mark Martin in the number 1 car.
And a little farther back from there, Rob Moroso just got around Dale Earnhardt, but Mark Martin now trying to get on the inside of L.D. Ottinger. That's Martin driving the Ford car number 1, the Carolina Ford dealers car.
Back up front, meanwhile, Davey Allison still would like very much to get to the inside of Morgan Shepherd and take over the lead, but Morgan is protecting his position for the moment. Looks like that Davey might have the faster car now. He may make a move going into one. No, he decides against it. I think he's being very careful at this point, don't you?
I think everyone is being careful right now.
Yeah, I think they are too, and Morgan's doing a good job of protecting that low line, and that has been the group that they've been running in here on this new pavement this afternoon in practice and qualifying.
Davey Allison tucked right under the back wing of the number 90 car. Now Harry Gant looked like he wanted to make a move. We had 3 spins in the first 5 minutes of practice here this afternoon when the Busch Grand National cars went onto the racetrack. Now this track was repaved for the spring race here, but it has been completely repaved since then, and it's a totally green racetrack that the drivers faced this afternoon. There is Davey Allison still trying to take over the lead from Morgan Shepherd, but not having any luck as Morgan continues to lead as he has done since the green flag drop. Let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch with a comment on this lead draft.
Just before the race, Bob, the drivers were talking about exactly what we mentioned in the opening of our show. Ned Jarrett said it right exactly. It's a one-groove racetrack. It's a very, very smooth track, a totally repaved surface, but the drivers are very leery of getting their cars a little bit higher or a little bit lower in the marble. That's why Harry Gant is backing off a little bit. That's why Davey Allison is being very leery and trying to go down Morgan Shepherd until there's some rubber on the racetrack. And once the rubber gets down, then they'll be able to pass a little better. But right now, they're being very careful and gingerly passing laps here at Bristol.
And the lead pack is approaching some slower traffic, so we'll be seeing lapping going on here in just a matter of moments.
And boy, that might be some tough going, Bob, for those drivers to go in traffic since it is a one-groove racetrack.
That's what I was going to say. Business is going to pick up in just a minute because, look, Dale Earnhardt had all kinds of problems, steadily going backwards through the field in the Goodwrench Chevrolet. Ooh, the 63 car, some heavy smoke out of the Chuck Brown automobile.
I think that was brake smoke, Benny. He went in there and almost ran over Earnhardt, and I think he had to lock the brakes down to keep from running over him. Dale Jarrett is just in front of Earnhardt, just got around him. Dale with the brand new sponsor here, the Nestle's Crunch people sponsoring him tonight in this race.
And there you can see the leaders now beginning to move through the slower traffic. They lap number 12, Jeff Burton. And driven by Robert Presley. Now they go around Patty Moise on the outside in car number 45.
And boy, they'll go around them very gently and easily. You can see Gant slides up a little bit as he ran up on the back bumper of Davey Allison, but it is slick out there. Now, the more they run up there, though, the better it will get. I think by the end of this race tonight, or maybe by halfway, that we'll see a second groove, and certainly the Weston Cuppers that run here tomorrow night will welcome that sight.
And there's our in-car camera being carried by Rick Mast. As you can see, he positioned himself to the inside of Kenny Wallace. Now, Dale Earnhardt is 2 cars ahead, as the car immediately ahead of the 22 car of Rick Mast is the 34 machine that's being driven this evening by Randy LaJoie. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, gentlemen, Dale Earnhardt is radioed to his pits and talked to crew chief Tony Urey and said, hey, it is so slick out here, and you got to believe that if Dale Earnhardt, who likes a slick race car and a racetrack, if he's complaining about the track being awfully slick, a lot of drivers are going to be in trouble before the night's over. Earnhardt's car is backing up in the field. The car is slipping and sliding when it comes out of turn 2. He's going to have to bide his time and wait to get out pit road for a pit stop and get some fresh tires and a chassis adjustment to tighten the car up. Right now, all he can do is hang on for dear life.
Well, Dale Earnhardt started this race in 9th position and has fallen back to 12th. Meanwhile, it's Morgan Shepherd who continues to lead, and you can see now there is a bit of an interval between himself and Davey Allison, who is running in second, as Morgan was able to move through the traffic a little bit better, and Davey has his hands full with Harry Gant.
Harry Gant really working on him. Harry Gant certainly knows how to get around this racetrack. Car number 7, owned by Ed Whitaker from right here in Bristol, Tennessee.
And Harry Gant looks to me like he's running a little bit higher than the other cars. Once they start getting into traffic and traffic becomes a problem almost every lap, Harry Gant probably will be the car to beat.
Well, he's finding that he can move a little bit higher, Benny, and the car works. So that is something we'll look for, is to see how high they can move and the car still stick. And one of the things that happened here today in practice, we mentioned a number of spins, and it would be when they would get out of that bottom groove. Now, it is cooler tonight, and it was very warm here this afternoon, so that might help the situation as far as moving up a little bit on the race surface.
And it seemed like turns 3 and 4 held much better than 1 and 2. The main problem that the drivers examined throughout the afternoon was an area down in turn number 2. We continue to watch the battle for second position. Davey Allison has second at the moment, and right behind him is Harry Gant as they now move through some slower traffic. Chuck Bound is lapped, and Joe Henry Thurman in car number 24 will be the next to be lapped by Allison and Gant. And there is Bound, who is dropping off the pace and entering the pits.
He acted, their car appeared as if it had a flat tire. He slowed down. He was running there very good, but then all of a sudden he started to slow. Let's go to Dr. Jerry Punkin.
Well, that is Jackaroo with Chuck Bound, and the problem is they have not got any fuel pressure with the car. It's not a tire. He radioed into his crew chief, Jeff Hensley, said the fuel pressure was fluctuating down to 0. Now they're working in the back to try and see if maybe they can ascertain what the problem is. He has shut the engine off. A tough break for the Nescafe Hensley Racing Pontiac.
So Chuck Bound is on pit road as he watches the race continue, as Davey Allison still holding second position and Harry Gant is in third. Chuck Bound has had a pretty successful season so far. His best finish this year was his second. That occurred at Pulaski County just a few weeks ago. So the leader is Morgan Shepherd here at Bristol International Raceway. Davey Allison and Harry Gant are battling for the second spot, and we'll be right back. For the J. Johnson 200 Busch Grand National Race, you're watching third place Harry Gant in car number 7. Davey Allison running second, and Morgan Shepherd the leader of this event. Before this race began, we had Winston Cup qualifying for tomorrow night's Busch 500. Alan Kowicki won the pole, and we'll have run rundown on who the top qualifiers were just a little bit later. We have a spin over in turn number 2. Rob Moroso, third in points going in, has spun and stopped at the middle of the racetrack, almost stops. And that created quite a traffic jam behind him.
Yes, it did. He was very fortunate he didn't get run over. But that started here on the front straightaway. Someone slowed up in front of him. It's one of the cars they were lapping, and the cars really jammed up behind him, and then Rob got bumped as he started out of turn 2.
It looks like that there's oil or some type of fluid coming from underneath that car. It looks like he might have some pretty serious problems. There may be an oil tank right behind. Yes, you see the fluid that's going on the racetrack. There might be an oil tank there that he has ruptured. If he has, he's through for the evening.
And boy, that could be tough for him as far as the point standings are concerned.
Here's a replay of Rob Moroso's spin up in turn number 2.
All right, there's Dale Earnhardt getting under. They evidently got together. There's Dale Jarrett on the outside. Randy LaJoy in car number 34 going by on the inside. Jarrett got his car slowed down, went on the outside, and went on around.
Boy, that's a situation where you really don't know where to go, but Dale took evasive action, went high. But look at the scramble now behind Moroso as the others try to avoid. Jack Arute is in Moroso's pit.
And they're lifting the hood on Robbie Moroso's car. The left front is dinged in very well, but more of a telltale permanent problem. The overflow from the radiator is just pouring water out of it. The car is definitely way overheated. It looks like they're going to push him behind the wall.
That's the fluid that you mentioned, Benny.
I guess it was. That's too bad. Terrible, terrible. Now, Moroso is a lap down, and
he's going to go behind the wall and hopefully get back into the event because he needs the Busch Grand National points very badly. Jimmy Hensley is also on pit road in car number 70. And the number 36 car of Kenny Wallace comes in for a tire change on the right side. We might mention the tire rule has been waived here this evening.
And normally they are not on a short track, not normally permitted to change tires. Let's go to the pits and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Dale Earnhardt's Goodrich Chevrolet comes in the left rear of the car. He seems to be shoved in a little bit. The crew, Tony Erie and the rest of the Goodrich crew now trying to pull some of that sheet metal away. They will change those right side tires and make that adjustment that may make Dale Earnhardt so competitive. Fuel leaking from the rear of the car where they have put a splash of gasoline in the car. They have changed right side tires out of the way. You see, take a look at the rear end of the car is shoved in somewhat about a half a foot. Let's go over to Jack Arute. Jack?
Well, Jerry, let's amend the problem on Robbie Moroso's car. Do you see this? This is the sump tank for oil. What they've done is they split it open. Oil is just pouring out behind it. You can't run an engine like that. Robbie literally spun in his own oil. Now they're going to try and change this entire tank, get him back out because points are so very important here in the final stages of the Busch Grand National points chase for 1989.
Congratulations, Benny. You were right after all.
well, that's usually what I did was I broke the oil tank, so I couldn't continue on.
Bob, let me finish. When I was talking about those tires, they normally aren't permitted to change tires on the short track. I should have said without penalty. But they waived that rule tonight so they can change tires as often as they want to, like the Winston Cup cars do.
Rob Moroso behind the wall trying to make repairs on that car. He comes into this event 77 points behind leader Tommy Houston. Large and enthusiastic crowd here at Bristol International Raceway for NASCAR competition. Tonight, Busch Grand National. Tomorrow, Winston Cup. Here are the top 10 at the end of 50 laps. A quarter of the race over already. Morgan Shepherd is the leader. Davey Allison second. Harrigan is third. Jimmy Spencer running fourth. And Ellie Ottinger is fifth. Running 6 through 10. Mark Martin, Tommy Ellis, Randy LaJoy, Dale Jarrett, and Rick Mast. Now they're cleaning up a spin over in turn number 2 and a crash involving Rob Moroso. And here's a look at it once again.
And here's the car, the red and white car on the outside. Dale Earnhardt in the black number 3 down on the inside. Touches him just ever so slightly coming off of that turn. And Moroso goes around. And evidently, Benny, when Earnhardt got into him, that must have gotten into the oil tank.
Yes, it looks like there was not very much protection around that oil tank. I'm surprised that there was no more protection for that. Here's Rick Mast, the in-car, and this is in slow motion. And we're going to see what Rick Mast sees coming off that corner. Ooh, he runs in the back of the car directly in front of him. It's the duck. Almost spins him out. And we see Rob Moroso in front, all the smoke. Oh, that's Jimmy Hensley. Jimmy cuts under, Rick Mast under, and they both get by.
Yeah,
Great job.
I think he got a little bit of a bump, but nevertheless survived. Here's the real time on it now.
gets by, stands on the gas, and drives away.
The sights and sounds of a crash at Bristol. Let's go to Jack Arute, who's with the crew chief on Davey Allison's car, Red Farmer.
Bob, the noise is nearly deafening here on pit road, so during caution periods, it's about the only chance that you can really communicate with your driver. You had a chance to talk, Red Farmer, to Davey Allison. What did he say the track conditions were?
Well, the track is real. They said the track is real slick on the outside where this sealer is starting to come up, and it's got a lot of loose gravel up in the high lane. So you got to be real careful when he passes the cars getting into the corner. So he said the car feels real good. He's just waiting his time. We're going to try to pit, maybe change tires. We've got one lap to go for the restart, but he said everything's working great.
Now, in a concession to sponsorship here, before we went on the air, Red changed to this hat here. But this is the hat he was wearing through most of the day. Both of them, of course, promote Texaco, but this is kind of a weird Alabama hat, if you ask me. We might give it to Benny to maybe use for hat of the week sometime.
There you go. All right, we're getting set for the restart now. 53 laps are completed.
As if it wasn't slick enough. Now we have oil on the racetrack and oil dry on the racetrack. We have got ourselves a mess.
But the fast cars are on the inside. That's the opposite of what you see them on super speedway.
Stand by for some exciting all-skating probably here for the next 150 laps as the green flag comes out.
And Morgan Shepherd, the leader, goes way high.
Boy, did he get out of the groove. He is way up on the high side, and Davey Allison just motors away, and so does Harry Gant. Something not right with the Shepherd car. He is slowing down dramatically.
It looks like he might be lost a cylinder. The car just running terribly. Morgan Shepherd almost on the apron of the race. He's going in the pits.
And boy, he had a lot of traffic backed up behind him. They were not able to get squared away there for a little bit. But Morgan Shepherd, too bad, had a good run going here tonight as he brings that car down pit road. They're going to the right side, maybe out of flat tire.
Jerry Punch is right there.
Apparently a tire going down on Morgan Shepherd's Buick, and a tough break as the leaders now flash by. Shepherd goes one lap down on pit road, and let's schedule quick stop. Right side tires by Johnny Townsend in the crew. Shepherd's car now down and away, but he is one lap down in the field. Tough break for Morgan.
So the guy who led from the drop of the green flag until we had the second drop of the green flag after a caution relinquishes not only the lead but a lap. And the 25 car Rob Barroso comes back out onto the racetrack as we see Davey Allison, now the leader, pursued by Harry Gant.
Well, Gant was really working on Allison when they were in traffic before that caution came out, but now it looks like he's able to pull away. And caution out again.
Yellow flag is out. We don't see any obvious reason for it, but in any case, we are slowed for the second time this evening. Pace car about to enter the racetrack at the end of the backstretch. So we are under caution once again at Bristol, and we'll take a break and be right back with more. Tonight at Bristol International Raceway, our annual visit to nighttime racing. Tonight, Busch Grand National. Tomorrow, the Busch 500 Winston Cup race beginning at 7:30 Eastern Time. We're getting set for the restart. Word is that Harry Gant may be coming in.
Well, I don't know if Harry's coming in, but to tell you people at home exactly what the caution flag was for, one of the cleanup crew went out to turn 4 and picked up, it looked like part of a bumper or something laying on the racetrack. So there was a huge piece of metal or something laying on the racetrack. NASCAR said, that's dangerous to the caution flag, picked it up.
Well, there was a report that Harry Gant was going to make a pit stop. Maybe he has changed his mind because of the fact we're going green again, but Mark Martin did come in.
Yes, he did. He was running in 5th place in the Carolina Ford dealers Ford #1, so he's at the back of the pack now.
Now, everybody is going to have to make a pit stop. They can't go the distance without a pit stop.
No, they got to have gas at least, and most of them will change tires as well.
Okay, pace car off. Green about to come out once again. There it is. Back to racing. Allison leaves him down. Standridge, car number 47, is a lap car, but he positions himself between first and second, Allison and Gant in car 7.
Billy Standridge would love to get by Davey Allison and then have a caution flag come out. He runs in the back of Davey Allison up in the corner. If that would happen, he would be able to get a lap back, go all the way around the racetrack. But no, Harry Gant goes by, Standridge goes back to the 3rd position. Not on the racetrack, but 3rd position, not in the stands, but on the racetrack.
And the 3rd position belongs to that green number 87 car that is being driven by Jimmy Spencer. There you can see Spencer trying to get around the 96 car, driver Tom Peck. Gant tries to run down Davey Allison. The number 75 car, driven by Rick Wilson, we understand is leaking some fluid. Now Rick won, and there you can see the fluid coming out the...
I believe that's an overheating problem. I think that's coming out of the overflow from the radiator. He's probably finished for the night. And he did win the Busch Grand National race here back in the spring.
It's actually a rained-out event that was held on Monday, but Rick Wilson came home with the victory. But you can see that things are not looking good for him tonight as he has pulled that car into the pits and may be finished for the evening. Mark Martin in car number 1 is moving through the field nicely, going to the inside of Steve Grissom, and now sending in sights on Dave Rezendes. Now remember, Mark Martin has made a pit stop, so he may not need any more before the evening's over.
And the 30 car right behind Mark Martin, that's Michael Waltrip, the Post Pontiac, and that car running very, very well.
Of the 18 Winston Cup drivers who have entered Busch Grand National races this season, Michael Waltrip has the most top 10 finishes. He has 6 top 10 finishes and 8 starts, and he won the Busch Grand National race at Indianapolis a few weeks ago. Meanwhile, back up front, it is still Davey Allison and Harry Gant. Morgan Shepherd led the early race, but he since came in for what apparently was a flat tire and relinquished a lap. And now we move inside Rick Mast's car for some great action. That's Dale Jarrett in 32 on the left of your screen as he tries to go around the 34 car of Randy LaJoie.
Well, he gave himself a little room there and went by. He's really been battling for the last while. Now Rick Mast is the next car behind Randy LaJoie, the Frank Sissy car. That car, of course, was driven in the early part of the year by Jimmy Spencer before he got the Buddy Baker ride on the Winston Cup circuit.
And all kinds of action behind, too. That's Dale Earnhardt in number 3 and Chuck Bound in 63.
And that's one of the loyalists is either Kenny or Rusty right behind Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt comes up right on the back of the Rick Mast car. Looks on the inside of Mast trying to go by.
Yeah, the 34 car is holding them up. And, boy, they are really doing some scrambling back behind him. Now Rick Mast's going to try on the outside. Here comes Earnhardt, move down on the inside. Rick shouldn't have made that move. Open the door for Earnhardt to move right down on the inside. And when the inside groove is still the place to be.
2 abreast going into 1. Oh, man.
Well, Rick Mast is working a little better out there than I thought you might be able to.
And we may see that second crew coming in now as both Earnhardt and Rick Mast battle side by side. And now look at him work the steering wheel.
Boy, he's really having to work. Earnhardt did make the move there, though.
So Dale Earnhardt got around Rick Mast. Now is locked in behind Randy LaJoie.
Kenny Wallace has a problem with car number 36. There's, I think he has a right tire flat. Anyway, he has banged into something with the right front of that car. You can see the sheet metal damage.
That's the problem, man. He doesn't have a flat. He just can't turn the steering wheel because the sheet metal's knocked in on the tire.
Kenny Wallace dropping back and maybe headed for pit road. He drops very low on the racetrack.
Well, he's the leading rookie candidate in the Busch Grand National Series this year and currently in 5th place in the standings. He's had a good year, has run very well for a rookie on this circuit.
He, of course, won the pole position for the Busch Grand National race at Daytona. And we have a car sliding in corner number 4 and others.
Randy LaJoie in car number 34, the car that we were watching there a moment ago.
I'm just amazed at how these guys can avoid a car that's sitting in the middle of the racetrack and not hitting him. But that was the case there also. LaJoie spins in turn number 4, and everybody avoids him. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Rick Wilson, apparently out of this race.
Well, an early night for Rick Wilson. Rick, you just had to park the Oldsmobile. What happened?
I must have cracked a cylinder head or something, but I'll tell you what, that Food Country Oldsmobile was running. We started like back at 23rd, and when we went out with like 60 laps to go, we were in the top 10 already, so I really think we had a shot at winning the race tonight. But, you know, we cracked the cylinder head, and it won't be.
A lot of cars are skating around, Rick. What about some of the leaders come down pit road? What about the track conditions? How's the track holding up?
The track's the same as it was today. There's one lane, and it's a bottom lane. You got to root, push, or shove, or wait till somebody makes a mistake. So it's going to be an exciting race. The outside lane, because everybody's staying on the bottom, it's just throwing up rubber and debris. So I don't think there'll be an outside group.
Davey Allison getting his pit work on pit road. His tires roll away, and they scamper to get service there in the car number 28. A lot of action on pit road. Let's go back upstairs.
changing the left side rubber on the 28 car of Davey Allison.
They'd already changed the right side, so he gets 4 new tires on that. Dale Jarrett goes in the pits on the backstretch in the Nestle Crunch Pontiac as Davey Allison goes back out. Davey running a Buick. He ran a Ford in the Busch Grand National Series in the early part of the year.
Morgan Shepherd also back on pit road in car number 90, and they're trying to tear away some of the sheet metal in that car. The 32 car of Dale Jarrett. Jerry Punch.
Right side tires have already gone on the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac, and the left side tires now going on cleaning the windshield, checking for any possible damage. A lot of shuffling out there, a lot of bumper tag going on here at Bristol. They are checked over Dale Jarrett's car, and now they're just having a little trouble with the left front tire. His car is down and away. A lot of activity on the backstretch pits. Morgan Shepherd also in to get some more tires. A lot of cars having trouble here as Kenny Wallace again trying to get some repairs on pit road.
And just for the record, the sponsorship on Dale's car is the Nestle's Crunch Ice Cream Bar. And let's go to Jackaroo.
Well, this is what they had to pull off of Kenny Wallace's pit. It's the rubber rear bumper. They just ripped it off. Now, he's also got extensive sheet metal damage on the outside. It was rubbing in. It cut a tire down. David Ifton, their Cox wood treatment car, is going to work. The crew is continuing to work on the car. The caution was a break for them. They would have gone down several laps if they had to do all this work under green. They've got the luxury of the caution. They keep bringing him in lap after lap to make major repairs.
I tell you what, there is some serious damage on these automobiles out there. Serious damage. Already. There is really bumper tag going on the racetrack.
82 laps. We're not even to the halfway point yet, and a lot of damage being shown by many of these cars. Back with more racing after this yellow flag caused by Randy LaJoie. Spin down in corner number 4, but everybody managed to avoid hitting him. Now the green flag has come out on lap number 84. Jimmy Hensley pulls out of the pits, and the action continues on the racetrack. The leader of the race is Harry Gant. Running in second is Jimmy Spencer, then L.D. Ottinger, Tommy Ellis, and Dale Earnhardt.
Nothing unusual to Harry Gant not making a pit stop early on, because it just seems like every Busch Grand National race we do, we're always speculating, is Harry Gant going to run out of gas or not? And right now I'm saying, is Harry Gant going to run out of gas or not?
Surely he won't try to go all the way tonight. Maybe he will, though. Who knows? He's tried lots of things before here on the ESPN Busch Grand National race.
Well, he's really opening up a lead on the 87 car of Jimmy Spencer. Now the 47 machine of Billy Standridge is again a lapped car, not in contention up front. Jimmy Spencer is right there in second position, and L.D. Ottinger in car number 2 is in third and putting on the heat.
Now, neither of those cars have made a pit stop as well. Some of the cars back behind there, Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, Rick Mast, and some of those have made pit stops. 12 cars now on the lead lap.
And you know, Kevin Clark was telling me, Ned Jarrett, that only one car that's in the top 5 in the Busch Grand National point standings is in the lead lap. So we could have a mix-up the point standings.
And that one car is Tommy Ellis, who is currently second in the Busch Grand National point standings, currently running 4th in this race.
Oh, and he gets a little bit out of shape as he may have gotten a nudge, and Rusty Wallace gets a nudge.
Tom Peck, the 96 car, the white car on the outside, just got caught out there and couldn't do too much about it. Had to back off and let the fellas go.
So we're seeing here 4th, 5th, and 6th. That's Tommy Ellis, Dale Earnhardt, and right behind Earnhardt is Rusty Wallace. And all 3 of these guys are hoping to be in the field for tomorrow night's Winston Cup race. Tommy Ellis has a ride with Rick Hendrick this weekend. And we'll tell you about that a little bit more later. But there is Ellis and Earnhardt, and now Rusty Wallace is challenging Dale Earnhardt for that position, and here comes Mark Martin, also in the thick of things.
Yeah, Earnhardt can't keep his car down low in the racetrack as he goes into the turns. He slipped up, and that opened the door for Rusty Wallace. He stuck it right in there. So will Mark Martin, and Davey Allison has already caught up to them after making his pit stop.
Mark Martin gets by okay. Davey Allison moves inside, coming off corner number 4 down the front straightaway, and he too is able to pass Dale Earnhardt, who is forced way high on the racetrack.
There's Rob Moroso in there. Of course, Rob is many laps down as a result of the problem he had, but he just drives right on by Dale Earnhardt. No problem. He's got a fast race car, but he's got a lot of making up to do.
Back to the leader, meanwhile, it's Harry Gant in car number 7. This is his 9th Busch Grand National race of 1989. And there's the interval between first and second position. Second is Spencer, and third is Ottinger in number 2.
Well, folks, I tell you, Harry Gant in the white 7's leading the race, but it ain't no fun. Let's go back where these guys are racing.
Yeah, he's pretty much got things to himself now. As a matter of fact, is about a half a straightaway ahead of the battle for second spot. And meanwhile, the racing continues behind that as Mark Martin and Davey Allison are slugging it out, and there is Rusty Wallace also.
Mark Martin running in the 5th position, Davey Allison running 6th, Rusty Wallace in the green and white car running in the 7th position.
Coming up on the halfway mark of this event, 98 laps will be completed by the leader as he comes around next time. Bristol International Raceway, always one of the garden spots on the Winston Cup Tour and the Grand National Tour. Owner Larry Carrier putting a lot of money back into this racetrack to make things comfortable for the fans and for everybody that comes to see. And in case you haven't heard, don't even think about coming out here tomorrow night if you don't have a ticket, because not only are the grandstand seats sold, but standing room only and everything else completely sold out for tomorrow night's Busch 500 that we'll televise live for you at 7:30 Eastern Time. We'll be back with our Grand National race right after this.
At Bristol International Raceway, pit stop fielder today. Harry Gant, the leader, into his Buick. He's got right side tires. Everyone on pit road. The second place car pitting behind Gant. That's Jimmy Spencer. But right now you're watching Harry Gant as the work now continues on the Gant car. A possible miscue. They did not get the lugs title on the right rear of the car. And right behind Harry Gant is the car number 87 of Jimmy Spencer. He has already had a right side tire change, and they will change left side tire. Spencer's car now being pushed into stalled on pit road. Now the car refires. Let's go over to Jackaroo.
Well, Jerry, the third place man, L.D. Ottinger, has pulled his car onto pit road here on the front stretch. The Detroit Gasket team going to work. They are going to change rubber all the way around on this car. Ottinger sitting calmly behind the wheel. They've changed the right side tires. They go to work on the left side. No tire penalty, as Ned Jarrett alluded to, due to the track conditions here. The short track rule being not put into effect here this evening. And so we've had another crash here. Harry Gant has crashed. He's lost the tire. And the tire is rolling on the track. Ottinger is off and away as the tire rolls right down the middle of the front straightaway, and he'll be coming right across the start-finish line, but not with Harry Gant. Let's check in with Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Well, what actually happened at the Harry Gant pit was a miscue that takes place a lot of times at tracks where it's extremely noisy. It's one of the casualties of Bristol International Raceway, and that is the fact that they were unable to communicate. You have to have a headset radio. They changed right side tires, and we're in the process of changing left side tires. The left rear tire changer did not get the lug nuts on the tire. They dropped the jack, and Gant pulled away with no lug nuts on the left rear tire. The tire would come off as Gant tries to come on the racetrack, and that will end Harry Gant's night, or any chance of victory he might have had here. Mark Martin is now our leader after all these pit stops, but a tough break for Harry Gant.
And Davey Allison running second. Now, we haven't explained why we are yellow. It happened during our commercial break, and we will show you what happened. Watch for a car sliding into the frame. That will be
Rusty Wallace. Car number 72 spins around going into turn 1. Now let's watch as these other cars keep coming around here as Wallace makes that spin. Car's going through the smoke. But he gets by okay without anyone hitting him. Now from another angle, we see him going into the turn. He's already spun out down there, but watch back behind another green car that spins out. And
I don't think
well, we didn't get to see it, I guess. But anyway, his brother Kenny spun going into the first turn. So the Wallace brothers spinning as they went into turn 1.
Well, Harry Gant's tire has been found by Jackaroo.
All the way down in turn number 1. This is the Goodyear Eagle that came off of Harry Gant's car. Now remember, he pits on the backstretch, so this may be a new record. It's come all the way from turn number 3 all the way down to turn number 1. Not a new track record, but a lot of disappointment for the man that belongs to this tire. Let's check in with Jerry Punch for more on this story.
Well, Jackaroo, the part that you have is one part of Harry Gant. The part he really needed was what I have in my hand right here. These are the lug nuts that should have been on the left rear tire of Harry Gant's car. Absolutely. Where were they laying? Well, they were laying right here behind the wall where they didn't need to be. They need to be on Harry Gant's car. And a tough break for Harry Gant. A miscue in the pits. That's what happened at Bristol International Raceway with all the noise and wreckage. You just can't hear. Bob?
Morgan Shepherd led and ran into a problem, and then we had Davey Allison lead. He's still second. Harry Gant led. He's had a problem, and you can see that Gant is going to be towed back to the pit area and will be out of this race. So Mark Martin will lead him down for a green flag when we come back to Bristol International Raceway. As you join us, the field moves out of corner number 4 and takes the green flag for a restart of our our Jay Johnson 200 Busch Grand National Race, lap 107. The leader is Mark Martin. Second place is Davey Allison. And in third is Dale Jarrett.
Running in fourth place is Michael Waltrip. Jimmy Spencer running in fifth place.
Morgan Shepherd was the car that went high on the racetrack as they got the green flag. He was an early leader, but is not on the lead lap. He's 13th a lap down. Davey Allison, little squirrely coming out of the corner.
He's looking inside Mark Martin. He wants by badly as Rusty Wallace goes in the pits on the back straightaway. But meanwhile, we have a tremendous battle going on for the lead.
Davey Allison has been fast all night long. Started in third place, moved up to second, then to the lead, then made a pit stop, worked his way back up now. Of course, Mark Martin has made a pit stop as well.
I would think both these cars should be able to go the rest of the way. What about you, Nick?
Oh, yeah, I think they should. I don't think there should be any problem with that. At least as far as gas is concerned.
Mark Martin, the driver from Batesville, Arkansas, who is trying desperately to win a Winston Cup race and may get his chance tomorrow night. Meanwhile, his most immediate concern is winning this race here tonight, and he drives the number 1. And there is Michael Waltrip, who started from 27th and now runs in 5th position.
That's Jimmy Spencer in the green car. They're lapping around Joe Henry Thurman in car number 24. Spencer got around Michael Waltrip just a moment ago. He was behind him on the restart.
Well, I tell you, I was impressed with Michael Waltrip's win at Indianapolis Raceway Park a few weeks ago. He just kind of laid back, and when the time was right, he just blew around everybody and won the race with ease, and that may be what he's doing here tonight.
Third place car, Dale Jarrett, has just gone into pits on the backstretch. Well, he goes back out on the racetrack now. He didn't even stop back there, so he comes back out. He was running third, but now he's going to be at the tail end of the lead lap.
And we're watching a group of cars led, there for a moment, we're watching a group of cars led by Tommy Houston. Meanwhile, we go back up front and look at the battle for the lead between Mark Martin and Davey Allison. Mark Martin is 11th Busch Grand National Race for 1989. And there is Dale Jarrett.
Well, he seems to be running okay now, Bob, but he slowed and went into pits. And let's check in with Dr. Jerry Punch, who maybe has something on that.
Well, I was just talking to John Irvin, the crew chief for Dale Jarrett, and apparently NASCAR had called Dale in for a stop-and-go penalty. Apparently, they say Dale must have passed on the wrong side of the restart, and John Irvin quite upset about it, having a discussion with NASCAR, but Dale agreed to come down pit road and take the penalty anyway, and discuss it after the race. So Dale lost a lot of valuable time on the racetrack, did not lose a lap. Gentlemen?
All right, so that's a story on Dale Jarrett. He was well up in the top 5 and in real contention for a win. It's still Mark Martin leading Davey Allison with 118 laps completed.
It looks like that the Martin car, once they run about 10 or 15 laps, does become as fast as Davey Allison. Those first 10 or 15 laps, looks like Allison's car a little bit quicker, but now Mark Martin able to put a car length or two on it.
He might be a little bit tighter, Benny. The back end hole a little bit tighter. Then once he gets the tires heated up, it starts working better for him.
Mark Martin, the former ASA champion, is the only driver to ever win a Busch Grand National Race in a Ford or to win a pole in a Ford. And to this time, all of the wins and poles have been using the V8 engine. There is Davey Allison, who is in second, and there is Michael Waltrip as he continues to march toward the front.
Michael Waltrip got by Jimmy Spencer just a couple of laps ago down in turn 1.
And he's now up to third. Jimmy Spencer is in fourth. Now that's Rob Moroso leading this trio down the racetrack, but again, Rob is not on the lead lap. He spun and received some damage to the car earlier in the event and went several laps down while repairs were being made. Spencer looking to the inside of Michael Waltrip. Oh!
I think they touched, and I think Spencer did a heck of a job saving that car because it looked to me like he was going to go for the long slide down the back straightaway.
Let's go to Jerry Punch, who can talk about this post-sponsored number 30 car driven by Michael Waltrip.
Well, Michael Waltrip's having a great run tonight, but he's had a lot of problems early on, some of which we have not yet documented. During the first caution flight tonight, Michael Waltrip lost third and fourth gear in his transmission. He had to come on the pit road, and they just shoved it in high gear. Now, on the restart, he's at a disadvantage. He only has fourth gear, so he has a difficult time making a pit stop, and also a difficult time getting the car to speed here on the restart. Mike Waltrip having a great run, so same car he won with a few weeks ago at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and I think this young man would like to win tonight here at Bristol, Tennessee. Gentlemen.
And he gets a little sideways in turn 2 and bangs the wall. Must have had a tire go down. Don't know, but in any case, he got high on the racetrack, banged against the wall. We'll see if the yellow comes out. Yes, it does. Well, a tough break for Michael Waltrip, who was moving up nicely. We were trying to get an interval between him and second place, but it's now all for naught, as Michael may have damage to that car.
I tell you what, the one car, Mark Martin, did not need this caution flag against Ned Jarrett, and I talked just a moment ago. He was getting his car stabilized, putting a few car lengths on Davey Allison. Now, Davey gets to cool the tires down. He's right on Mark's back bumper. Tough break for Mark Martin.
Let's look once again at the problem experienced by Michael Waltrip.
Looks like the right front tire went down.
Yeah, it just looks like it might have, maybe didn't blow out, but at least it lost air going into the turn, and everybody gets by as he gets it down off the racetrack.
And from another angle, from our camera up on top of the grandstand here on the main straightaway.
No, well, the back end. Yep, the back end got loose, and he overcorrected, and right up into the wall she went.
Yeah, that's right. He got loose going down in turn 1, and when he corrected the car at 100 miles an hour, Bob Jenkins, saving those cars is not the easiest thing in the world to do.
And you'll never find me trying out or finding out how it's done either. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
A lot of athletes are having trouble deciding what sport they want to play. Bo Jackson plays both baseball and football. Danny Ainge, when he first started a professional career, both basketball and baseball. Auto racing also has its own crossover. Brad Daugherty, all-star center of the Cleveland Cavaliers, also with a Busch Grand National car. Brad, what in the world got a fellow like you interested in stock car racing?
Well, to tell the truth, I took a ride down to Charlotte Motor Speedway one afternoon with a gentleman named Benny Parsons, and I've been addicted ever since.
That's right. We about 156, 57 miles an hour. Quite a ride, was it?
Yeah, it was a real interesting ride. We were cruising around through there pretty good, and I think you were a little bit nervous, but I got you calmed down.
How about the Cavaliers? What do they say about your auto racing activities?
Well, they really inquire about it a lot. They're really interested, but I don't think they're too crazy about it. But like I told the general manager, you know, man has to do just what a man has to do. And he says, Brad, man can do whatever he wants to do. You keep your long butt out of that race car. And I said, okay, I'll do that.
But you would like to, one of these days, make a few laps, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I really would. I'd enjoy driving a race car, I think. Maybe someday I could be fortunate enough to drive on something like a late model stock circuit or something like that. That's kind of what I'm aspiring to do. But right now I get to be involved with guys like Robert Presley and get to meet people like you and Ned Jarrett. So, heck, I've got it made.
And 2 weeks ago at Rougemont, North Carolina, Orange County Speedway, Brad Daugherty's driver, Robert Presley, in car number 59, had some contact with Tommy Ellis, but he crossed the finish line first and won his first Grand National race. And there is Brad live here at Bristol watching his driver. He's in the yellow shirt there, towering above everybody. I guess I don't need to point him out because he's
the tallest guy there.
Yeah, head and shoulders above everybody else. We've just gone green from the most recent caution period, and Mark Martin continues to lead this race with Davey Allison running in second. Jimmy Spencer is third. Bobby Hamilton running in fourth spot, and Dale Earnhardt is fifth, followed by Rick Mast, Tommy Ellis, L.D. Ottinger, Dale Jarrett, and Michael Waltrip, who managed to come in for a tire change without losing a lap. So Michael Waltrip is still in the lead lap. Some sparks there from Earnhardt's car.
Earnhardt's car just a little bit too low going in off turn 4, hit a bump, and I guess the exhaust system, something hanging down. Bottomed out is what Rick Mast in the A.G. Dillard car come up right on the back bumper of Earnhardt. Behind him is Robbie Moroso. Robbie's several laps down in that Swisher Sweets car.
Raven Boat sponsoring Rick Mast car this evening, the 22 machine. There it is from out the back glass as we watch look at Rob Moroso. Let's go to Jack Arute on pit road.
Bob, you were talking about the fact that Mark Martin was having problems with his car until he got several laps and heat back in the tires. Well, during that caution period, Davey Allison radioed into Red Farmer that his car was way, way too tight with the tires that they put on during their pit stop. The car is awfully tight. He's been complaining about it, but they don't want to lose track position, so they're going to try and live with it to the end of the race. It could be the difference between finishing first and finishing second.
Well, as we continue to watch Rob Moroso, there now we see how Davey Allison has fallen back just a little.
Exactly. What's that, 10 car lengths? That's been the furthest back Davey Allison's been all night.
And you can see the car is moving around a little bit in the turns. It's not working as good as it looked like it was working earlier on.
So for the moment, Mark Martin has things in hand, leading this 200-lap race here at Bristol.
Folks, if you just joined us, Morgan Shepherd sat on the pole for this race and led early on. Harry Gant led the race, had a bad pit stop, a left rear tire. The lug nut was left off. He lost the tire on the racetrack.
That's basically what has happened to this point. Meanwhile, here is a battle between number 2, L.D. Ottinger, and the 32 car of Dale Jarrett. This is for 8th position as they pass Billy Standridge on the low side.
L.D. Ottinger, I don't know if Ron Parker is car owner is here this afternoon, but this is his first year as the owner of a race car, having a very good year with L.D. Ottinger.
Let's go to Jerry Punch, who has a comment on Dale Jarrett's run.
Impressive run for Dale Jarrett. What we may have missed in commercial, folks, is the fact that Dale Jarrett came on the pit road and changed right side tires during that last caution flag. Now, he came out at the tail end of the field and is now up there battling L.D. Ottinger for 8th spot. This is an indication of how much fresh rubber will do here at Bristol International Raceway. Dale Jarrett came all the way from the rear of the field, trying to keep from being lapped. The leaders move in on him, but Dale Jarrett battling for 8th spot.
Now, here is the guy that was running in 4th position, Bobby Hamilton, in for a stop, and I'm not sure.
Trouble going into turn 1, a car on fire.
Michael Waltrip's car is on fire as it heads for turn number 2 and the entrance to the backstretch pit area. And you can see Michael Waltrip trying to get unbuckled and out of that car, but there is flame in the right front of the machine. Michael climbing out okay.
I can't imagine what's happened to that car to have such a fire over on the right side unless something came off the racetrack and broke a fuel line or something, because, Ned, what could be burning over there?
I don't know. That's a very unusual spot. If it were on the left side, you could say it was the fuel tank. I mean, the oil tank, like we saw Rob Moroso's car a little bit earlier. But on the right side, I don't know. It could be a fuel line or maybe an oil line on that side. And as you say, something just about would have had to come off the racetrack or something break on the race car to make it burn.
We saw last week at the Michigan race, Greg Sachs burn a wheel bearing in the right front of his car and had a fire. So maybe it did lose a wheel bearing. I don't know.
Here's a replay, Benny, and I guess this would be up in the 3rd and 4th turn. Mark Martin is trying to put a lap on Michael Waltrip, and the fire is going to erupt here on the main straightaway. We'll watch for it.
Now, of course, that right front is where he hit the wall a little bit earlier. And
just as he crossed the line.
Yeah, you can see that fire just burst all of a sudden.
I can't imagine.
And it looks like an oil fire.
It sure does. I can't imagine what in the world.
Take a look at it from another angle. This is outside turn number 1. Boy, a big ball of flame. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Michael.
Well, take a look behind us. What's left of Mike's car sitting there? They have put the fire out. Mike, a scary moment for you. What happened?
When? Which time? We first of all got hung in high gear. Brakes went away. I hit the wall, and then it caught on fire. So it was a heck of a night for the post-serial Spiny. We're having fun and running good, but wasn't to be, I don't guess.
What caused the fire, Mike?
I'm not sure. The thing just broke. It might have blowed the motor. The motor's been sick ever since we got here, and we've been having a lot of problems with our little car. Couldn't get it running like we wanted to, and finally something broke inside of it. I'd like to take a minute and say hi to my mother. She's at home and doing real well, and thank all the fans that are thinking about her. Hi, Mom.
Let's go over to Jack Arute.
Well, Jerry, this caution was a break for Davey Allison, who was running in 2nd. Red Farmer, Davey said that the car was very tight. He's talking to Davey right now. The car was very tight. You got a chance to loosen the car up during that pit stop. Trying to listen to what Davey's saying and listen to what I'm saying too. Got to loosen the car up during this pit stop.
Well, yeah, the Davey said the car was tight right in the middle of the corner. He couldn't get it to turn like he wanted to try to pass Mark. So we thought we'd gamble on putting 2 tires to try to change the stagger. And if it puts the car back running like it was the first set of tires, we figured we could catch him and pass him. But the way we was losing ground on him. because our car, the second set of tires, wasn't good.
Now that's a gamble because track position's so important here. He's going to have to come from the back and carve his way to the front. They're getting ready to go back to green here, but let's update you on Bobby Hamilton's condition as well. Bobby running so well, a rookie here in competition. He came in, changed 4 tires, but he had a fire in the rear end area. They had to call a fireman out to put a fire extinguisher in and put the fire out. Let's go back topside.
All right, thank you, Jack. We're getting ready to go green in just a few seconds, but first of all, let's review the top 15 qualifiers for tomorrow night's Busch 500. Kowicki will be the pole sitter, eligible for that Unocal money. Jeff Bodine, second fastest. Then you can see 6 through 10, Rudd, Earnhardt, Irvin, Waltrip, and Wallace. And then 11 through 15, Michael Waltrip, Spencer, Mast, Gant, and Cope. Those drivers are locked in. The other 15 positions will be determined during second day Busch qualifying tomorrow afternoon. Our live coverage of the Busch 500 here at Bristol begins at 7:30 Eastern Time. Tomorrow night, we hope you'll be with us. The green flag comes out, and we're back to racing. Leader is Mark Martin. Second, Jimmy Spencer. Third is Dale Earnhardt. And fourth is Rick Mast. Fifth, Tommy Ellis. Sixth, L.G. Ottinger. And seventh is Davey Allison.
Jimmy Spencer staying a little closer on Mark Martin than thought he might be able to, although Jimmy had made a pit stop later than Mark Martin, so he has fresher tires on that Lowe's Food Store Pontiac.
Ned, what do you think about Davey Allison's strategy? There's 8 cars in the lead lap. Do you think it was a good strategy? Starting behind all those cars with just 50 laps to go?
Well, I tell you, it's awfully tough to pass as we've seen that here tonight, but as Red Farmer said, he was losing ground to the leader, and so I guess, you know, we hear so many race drivers say, hey, if you don't win, it don't matter where you finish. So
second's the same as ninth.
Yeah.
Jimmy Spencer almost lost it coming out of turn number 4. Let's take a look at those who have dropped out of competition. Jeff Burton is out. So is Rick Wilson, Patty Moeast, Bobby Hillen, and Rusty Wallace. Harry Gant and Morgan Shepherd have also dropped out of competition in this 200-lap race that is 157 laps old. Jimmy Spencer has been in the hunt all evening, you know it?
Yes, he has. He has run very well. He ran up in the top 5 until he made his pit stop. He got back down to about 10th place after making a pit stop, but then the others have made stops in front of him. He passed a few cars, and here he is running in second place.
And he is driving. He's driving that car every inch around this racetrack. There is no place that he's getting a break because we can see the car bouncing around here. Tommy Ellis, L.D. Ottinger, and Davey Allison, as we talked about, trying to get by these cars, Ned, and you're exactly right. Passage is so difficult here tonight.
It really is, and Davey's car is faster than those 2 cars in front of him, but it's awfully difficult to move around the car that's, say, running maybe a 1/10 of a second a lap slower than you are. And Davey's finding that out right now.
Watching 5th, 6th, and 7th. Tommy Ellis in 99. L.D. Ottinger in number 2, trying to take the spot away, and Davey Allison watching from behind. Here's Ottinger moving to the inside, passing Ellis, and so does Davey Allison.
Yeah, once that inside groove was taken by L.D. Ottinger, Ellis had no choice but just to back off. And it was a good move on his part. They were going to get by him one way or the other. It looked like his car would hold him up just a little bit. So Tommy said, hey, I'm sitting here in pretty good shape as far as those point standings are concerned. Let me just not mess up.
And folks, you saw what Rob Moroso did for points, and this championship is worth about $85,000. Just think the extremes that a Winston Cup car team goes to when a championship is worth $1 million. As we're looking from inside Rick Mast's car.
Out the back class. That is Ottinger and a Davey Allison that we're watching.
Of course, Rick Mast currently running in the 4th place. L.D. Ottinger running in 5th place, and Davey Allison 6th.
As Rick Mast, with our in-car camera, runs in 4th. Saw them pass Steve Grissom down on the inside. Those are some amazing pictures. I had my doubts, quite honestly, about an in-car camera at night, but boy, I tell you, that's giving us some great pictures.
It sure is. Ned, I tell you what, L.D. Ottinger, I'm not sure that he's not a little bit faster than Davey Allison. That car is running extremely strong this season.
Yeah, he's running good. He's caught Rick Mast. They were pretty far behind him when we first picked this picture up not too long ago. Now he's right on his back bumper and working on Rick Mast.
Good battle here. Mast, Ottinger, and Davey Allison.
Ottinger from Newport, Tennessee, not too far from here.
LD's been held up just a little bit in that Detroit gasket Pontiac. Davey Allison looked on the inside of turn 2, but not able to get by. Here, Davey once again looks on the inside.
Well, he has those fresh tires, but still it's not enough that he can move around.
Now Ottinger moves to the inside of Mast, or looks inside, cannot make the move.
Benny, it looks almost like on a big track where they're drafting, just moving in and out where they have a hard time keeping directly behind the car in front of them.
So things settle down now for that 4th position as the lead continues to be held by Mark Martin with Jimmy Spencer in 2nd and Dale Earnhardt in 3rd position. You're watching live coverage of the Jay Johnson 200 Busch Grand National race, and we'll be back right after these messages. With 24 laps to go, Mark Martin leads. Jimmy Spencer is 2nd, Dale Earnhardt 3rd, Rick Mast and Davey Allison 4th and 5th. Running 6th is L.D. Ottinger. Dale Jarrett is 7th. Kenny Burks is 8th. Billy Standridge 9th. And Jack Ingram is in 10th position. And there are 8 cars on the lead lap.
And if the fans are wondering what happened to Tommy Ellis, one of the point contenders, he made a pit stop while we were way on break. So Tommy's at least 2 laps down now.
And there is the leader, Mark Martin, who has a fairly substantial lead at this point. Things going very well for Martin. He has won 4 Busch Grand National races in his career. Looking for win number 5 here this evening.
He looks like he's got things fairly well in hand now, but this is a stock car race, folks, and you never know what's going to happen. There's the 22 car, the blue 22, that's Rick Mast. He's running in 4th spot now, and 5th spot, Davey Allison, the black and white 28, right on his bumper.
Oh, great shot from the in-car camera. Looking back on Davey Allison.
Chuck Bowen is in the wall over in turn 2. There he's sliding down off of the wall.
And a tire came off the car and bounded across the wall, and I thought it was going to go into a group of people standing back there, but I don't believe it did. In any case, Chuck Bowen's car is stopped at the bottom of the racetrack in turn 2.
Looks like he has some pretty heavy blow. Yes, some serious damage to that automobile.
7th caution of the evening comes with just about 22 laps to go. And a replay. Oh, man, did he.
Yeah, you can see the pieces of the sparks flying, the pieces falling off the race car as he's up against the wall. You can see other cars coming on. You see the tire just going out of the picture there.
It continued to bound over the wall, and it struck a guardrail that is outside the racetrack. Perhaps we can see it now from another angle. Look at the wheel. Now you can't.
We stayed on the car, but I would like you, Bob Jenkins. I saw the tire jump the wall and went over against where the cars come across the racetrack.
And it was moving at 100 miles an hour, too. It would have caused some serious damage had it hit anyone, but I don't believe it did. So we're under caution once again here at number 63, the reason for our 7th caution of the evening. We take a look now at the top 5. Well, we'll take a look at the replay first and show you that the car came in serious contact with the wall up in turn number 2.
And folks, you see all that stuff drifting down the racetrack, all that debris, that is strictly flat tire material. All those cars that's going by, there Dale Jarrett goes by, you just hope that your car doesn't pick up one of those bits and pieces as you go across them. That was not Dale, that was Rusty Wall's car that went across.
Now, the top 5 at the moment with 15 laps to go. Mark Martin, Jimmy Spencer, Dale Earnhardt, Rick Mast, and Davey Allison. Now, here are the top 5 qualifiers earlier this evening for tomorrow night's Busch 500. Alan Kowicki will lead them down for the green flag at 7:30. Jeff Bodine is 2nd. Brett Bodine, 3rd fastest qualifier. Ken Schrader, 4th, and Sterling Marlin, 5th. And the live coverage will begin here on ESPN at 7:30 Eastern Time. Let's go to Jack Arute with an update on Chuck Bowen.
Well, Bob, real good news on Chuck Bowen. He brought him to the infield medical center here. He's inside this door right now, but he walked in under his own power, no limps, no problems at all, but a good safety precaution here at Bristol International Raceway. They want to check him over, but he was fully lucid, fully awake. He was just a little bit disappointed that he tore up his race car. Let's check in with Jerry Punch.
Another fellow who's fully awake, Jack, is Bill Davis, the car owner for Mark Martin. And Bill Davis and the crew have been trying to get a win with this Ford V6. They've had 3 second-place finishes, Bill, and 1 fourth. And I know you're holding your breath now, waiting for these final less than 20 laps now, about 14 laps to go, to get that first V6 win for Don Kowalski.
Well, we'd love to get it for the Carolina Ford dealers and for Don Kowalski. He's done a great job all year with the V6s. You know, there's some racing left, but maybe it'll work out for him. We hope so.
Well, less than 14 laps to go. Let's go back to Jack Arute, who's standing by with Chuck Bound. Jack?
He just walked out, Jerry. First of all, Chuck, you're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. And kids in Tucson, I'm doing okay.
What happened?
The left rear wheel just come right off the car. I don't know if the hub broke or the wheel broke or whatever, but entering the first turn at full speed, it just spun around and smacked the wall. You know, it didn't slow down a bit when the left rear wheel come off. I stood in the brakes and hung on, but I'm fine. It was just a bad day from about the 40th lap for the Nescafe Pontiac, but we'll be back.
I think that just about says it all. Good news from here on pit row. Let's go topside.
Chuck Bound 9th in Busch Grand National points going into this event here this evening. We are still under caution cleaning up the racetrack with the green flag about to come out. The pace car still in front of the field in the third turn. Now ducks toward the pit area, and on lap number 189, we go back to racing for the final 11 laps. Mark Martin, followed by Jimmy Spencer, Dale Earnhardt, Rick Mast, and Davey Allison. Can Mark Martin hold off the thundering herd? This is, as we have said throughout the evening, pretty much a one-groove racetrack tonight. Martin,
I think Jimmy Spencer got it. Earnhardt.
Multi-car tangle up in turn number 2. Earnhardt and Spencer spin. Everybody else manages to keep going.
And
unbelievable.
And the caution flag comes out, and somebody threw a can on the racetrack, but Mark Martin just misses and went by. But look, Davey Allison, Ned Jarrett and I talked about, did he make the right decision? He is now in second place, right on the back bumper of Mark Martin.
See the damage just a moment ago there to Dale Earnhardt's car. A lot of damage to the rear of his Goodrich Chevrolet. There he is.
Well, as you and I saw, Benny, and maybe you saw it too, Ned, this really developed here on the main straightaway because Jimmy Spencer got a little bit sideways here on the home stretch, and then when he went down into turn number 2 or number 1, it really broke loose.
Yes, it did. But Earnhardt, when Spencer almost got in the wall coming off turn 4, he had to get out of the throttle for just a little bit, and when he did, Earnhardt tried to get inside of him. They got down in turn 1, and there we see the result of that collision.
Rick Mast escaped in car number 22 as we have another angle. There you can see the car sideways in the middle of the front stretch.
And we can see he was going at a reduced rate. And Earnhardt and Spencer just made some contact. And Jerry punches down in the Spencer pit.
Jimmy Spencer's car getting service. What's left of the front end of that Lowe's Foods Pontiac has been totally sheared away. The front sheet metal is missing, a big hole in the left front. They did replace the left front tire. His car is rolling back in turn 1. A lot of heavy damage. Spencer will miss an opportunity at a great finish here tonight.
Yeah, it's too bad for Jimmy Spencer, who ran up front all evening long until this point. Now, we've only got, when they come down to the complete lap number 193, as Dale Earnhardt comes in. Boy, look at the sheet metal damage on that car, Jerry.
Well, heavy sheet metal damage on Earnhardt's car. He began the evening with a little bit of sheet metal damage on the rear end of the car. He will finish it off just about sawing the rear of that car apart. The crew now, Tony Urey and the crew, trying to pull the Goodrich Chevrolet apart to get the sheet metal off the tire. Earnhardt sitting very placidly and very solemnly in the race car, apparently unshaken and unswerved by all the fender banging here. He now motioned to the crew and said, hey, no left stock tires, guys. Let's get back on the racetrack and bump a little more. We got some laps left, and let's have some fun. Earnhardt's car heads down pit road, back to turn 3.
Only 7 laps to go, and Dale Earnhardt will be one of those, certainly in contention tomorrow night in the Busch 500 Winston Cup race at 7:30 Eastern. Now, we are just about to go green once again for the final 6 laps. There you can see the field as it begins to form down the backstretch.
Mark Martin, the blue and white number 1, the leader. Davey Allison, the black and white 28. There's Rick Mast. They'll be on there.
Dale Jarrett, Jimmy Hensley. The 02 car, the bright yellow car, was Kenny Burks.
You'll never see Tommy Ellis and Kenny Wallace on the outside. Tommy Ellis in the black and red, and Kenny Wallace in the green and white, and the green is out.
Here we go for the final 6 laps. hold off the challenge of Davey Allison. Allison looks to the inside, going down the backstretch. Can't move to the inside, though. Martin leads with 5 laps to go.
Martin's going to try. Oh, Martin gets sideways, and Davey looks on the inside. I think he's got him.
They go in side by side. Martin has about a half a car length advantage. They come out of the corner. They're still side by side. Into turn 1. Allison is to the inside. Martin to the outside.
They run together.
Yes.
Davey's going to come out with the lead, I believe.
Rick Mast might dive down on the inside of Mark Martin, might be able to get second place.
And here is the vantage point of Rick Mast, who's right in the thick of things and battling for the lead, and a crash on the main straightaway as Davey Allison goes into the wall.
And Mark Martin takes the lead, and the caution is out.
Here comes the completion of lap 198. The yellow flag comes out. That could be the end of the race. Davey Allison is against the retaining wall in turn number 1. Well, we saw the action develop as Rick Mast saw it. Here is another vantage point.
There's Davey in the lead, Mark Martin up on the outside, and Rick Mast down on the inside, and it looks like that Mark Martin's car gets into the right rear of Davey Allison's car and sends him into the wall.
And you can see L.D. Ottinger passing Rick Mast and taking over second position, and that's the way they cross the line. Davey Allison is out of the car and does not appear to be a happy person.
No, I'm sure he is. I tell you what, I think he's hit the wall pretty hard. He's trying to get his breath right now. He wants to say hello. He wants to say something to Mark as he goes by. Yes, he got his point across. Now go to the hospital and get checked over.
Maybe, of course, very concerned about the fact that the Winston Cup race is coming up tomorrow, and with the great last few races that he has had, he finds himself 5th in the point standings, and certainly not out of the battle for the Winston Cup. He displaced Bill Elliott in the top 5 after Michigan last weekend.
And they're running under the white flag right now, Bob, and caution, they'll get the checkered flag this time around, and Mark Martin's going to win this race.
So Mark Martin will be the winner of the J. Johnson 200 Busch Grand National race here at Bristol International Raceway. He will actually be the second car to cross the line because the pace car will be the first as we end this race under caution. There's the checkered flag displayed, and Mark Martin from Batesville, Arkansas wins his 5th Busch Grand National race of his career. Finishing second is going to be L.D. Ottinger, third, Rick Mast, and I believe 4th is going to be Dale Jarrett.
Dale Earnhardt will finish in 5th place.
6th would be Spencer, 7th would be Kenny Burks, 8th would be Tommy Ellis, 2 laps down. 9th, this is unofficial, of course, would be the 6th car of Tommy Houston, and in 10th position would be Kenny Wallace in car 36.
So the point standings won't change that much tonight, with Tommy Houston finishing in 9th place. He was the leader going in. Tommy Ellis finishing just 1 position ahead of him, so not much change in the Busch Grand National point standings.
But Mark Martin is the winner of this 200-lap event here this evening, and we will return to have a conversation with him in Victory Lane in just a moment.
It began as an idea on the sands of Florida's beaches. And today, it captures the gamut of emotion. It's a combination of art, science, and excitement. It's the NASCAR Weekly Racing Series. It comes to life every weekend at over 80 speedways across America. It's stock car racing at its colorful best. It's NASCAR, where legends are born.
And here at Bristol International Raceway, the J. Johnson 200 Busch Grand National race, which has been won by Mark Martin. Our Speed World coverage being brought to you by the Die Hard battery, now with more power when you need it most. By Quaker State Motor Oil, the big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. By the First Name in Filters, Purolator, exceptional protection for exceptional vehicles like yours. And by the Coleman Company, we outfit your outdoors. Top 5 finishers here this evening. Mark Martin wins. L.D. Ottinger was second, Rick Mast third, Dale Jarrett fourth, and Dale Earnhardt finished in 5th position. Now we go down to Victory Lane for our Winner's Circle interview, being brought to you by the Die Hard Battery, now with more power when you need it most. Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, Mark Martin is being made to stand beside the car so they can weigh the car. It has to weigh 3,200 pounds with the driver. And Mark, a fantastic finish his final couple laps. A heck of a run for you.
Well, you know, the car ran good. The Carolina Ford dealer's car was super all night. It's unfortunate it had to end that way. Racing incident on a racetrack. I was beside Davey, and he tried to crowd me out, and I didn't lift. I didn't think that he'd try to pinch me into the wall like that.
You guys were racing out there. You were on the outside, and Davey on the inside. We saw in the upper part of the screen here, the viewers at home seeing it again. And coming off the turn, looked like there was no room.
Just ran out of room. I was as close to the wall as I could get, and I ran out of room.
Mark Martin picking up his first win of the year on the Busch Grand National Tour, the 13th different winner to win as Mark Martin will head off to Victory Lane. Let's go up pit road to Jack Arute, who's standing by with Davey Allison. Jack?
Well, first, the good news, Davey Allison is okay, but the bad news is, Davey, you're not too happy about the way this thing turned out.
Well, Jack, our Texaco antifreeze Buick was really flying tonight. We came in, we got fresh tires, and we came all the way back up to second. I got under Mark twice, and he cut me off, and I just backed off and gave him room, you know, because I like to race clean, and I got alongside of him clean. I didn't shove him around. We ran side by side one lap. I got the jump on him off of this corner, going down the straightaway. I guess he just wanted to win real bad. That's all I got to say.
It was close quarters racing, though, and the thing that was most exciting, when you were running side by side, you just said it, you like to run a good, clean side-by-side race.
Well, I do. You know, I try to race clean with everybody. You know, this is a short track, and I know there's going to be some bumping and rubbing that goes on, but when you just turn a guy from the wrong side into the wall head on, that's uncalled for. You know, if he'd have been up to my door, I'd have gave him room, but he wasn't where I could see him. The guy in the front has the right of way from everything I've been told as long as I've been racing.
Well, that just about says it all for Davey Allison in the Texaco Antifreeze Special.
All right, thank you, Jack and Jerry. The top 10 finishers here this evening show us Martin, Ottinger, Mast, Jarrett, and Earnhardt in the top 5, and Spencer, Burks, Ellis, Houston, and Wallace in the second 5. In Tennessee, where the Busch Grand National race has been completed here this evening. Let's take a look at the point standings now in the Grand National Division. Tommy Houston remains the leader, Tommy Yella second, Jack Ingram third, and Rob Moroso fourth. Now the top 10 finishers here tonight: Mark Martin, a controversial win, L.D. Ottinger second, Rick Mast third, Dale Jarrett fourth, and Dale Earnhardt fifth. Finishing sixth was Jimmy Spencer, seventh was Kenny Burks, Tommy Ellis finished eighth, Tommy Houston ninth, and Kenny Wallace finished in 10th position. This all a preview of what you'll be seeing tomorrow night here at Bristol as we bring you live coverage of the Busch 500 Winston Cup race. Our live coverage here on ESPN begins at 7:30 Eastern Time. And once again, Alan Kowicki will be the pole sitter for that race. Jeff Bodine will start alongside. We hope you'll be with us at 7:30 Eastern Time tomorrow night. For Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Jack Arute, and Dr. Jerry Punch, this is Bob Jenkins. For now, so long, everyone.